Hey friends, I'm in Lubbock, Texas, paying my respects to the great Buddy Holly. This is his final resting place. It's actually a beautiful morning. The sun's coming up and the lighting on his grave just couldn't be any better. Just a really beautiful morning. So my thoughts as I'm standing here, I'm thinking about 22 years old is just way too young, way too young. Think of all the great music and records and just good life he would have had if it wasn't for that terrible incident in Iowa. But as I'm sitting here thinking, I remember touring with Ian Hunter, and Ian Hunter told me that he got to see Buddy Holly play live at the Mumford Hall in Leicester. I actually got to play on that same stage years later, which was great. But I was asking him how they viewed Buddy Holly back then. He said the best way to describe it is kind of how people would go on to look at hard rock, where Buddy Holly was the hard stuff. You know, the rough kids were into that. And looking back now, we don't think of it that way. But he said he remembered pressing up against the stage and seeing him play his strat, and just it was unbelievably great and influenced him moving forward for a lifetime. And I'm also thinking about an interview I heard with Mac Davis. Mac Davis is a great songwriter and entertainer who was from Lubbock, and he's buried in the same cemetery. Mac Davis talked about he wasn't friends with Buddy Holly, but he knew Buddy Holly a little bit when he was a kid. And he said that when you would go to see Buddy Holly at the roller skating rink here in Lubbock before he was famous, he said people have these pictures of bobby socks and pigtails and that kind of thing, and roller skates. And he said it wasn't like that at all. They took the roller skates off when Buddy Holly played, and it was a lot of the tough kids coming out. And there were a lot of fist fights and things like that. And I'm not saying, you know, bobby socks and pigtails weren't there. I'm just repeating what Mac Davis said, who was there. He said it was, it kind of backs up what Ian Hunter said. It was the hard stuff. It was early hard rock for that crowd. And Mac Davis had a lot of good stories about seeing Buddy. So when Buddy Holly had a hit, he'd come back into town, and he had a convertible and some pretty girls, and Mac Davis would sit out on the front porch of the motel that his parents owned, and he'd see Buddy Holly rolling through town real super slow in that convertible with the pretty girls in there, so that everybody would know Buddy Holly's back in town. I love that. I'm thinking of the picture of Buddy Holly and Waylon taken in Grand Central Station in New York, a little photo booth pictures. I don't think there's a single cooler picture in rock and roll history that's been taken since then. They look as cool as anybody could look for my personal taste. You can think whatever the hell you want to think. I visited my buddy John D. Graham a couple days ago in Austin, and he asked me what I was doing after I left there, and I said I was going up to Lubbock to pay my respects to Buddy Holly and visit his grave. And he reached in his pocket and he pulled out a guitar pick. And he says, Otis wants you to do me a favor and lay this on Buddy's tombstone. And I said, I plan on doing the same thing with one of my picks. I visited the crash site a couple years ago, and I made a video about it. I'm going to link to it right here. You can watch that. But tell me what your favorite Buddy Holly song is, your favorite Buddy Holly memory. Did you ever see him live? Did you ever meet him? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. And I'll talk to you somewhere down the road. Much love to you.